Just a quick update for everyone who is looking forward to trying to get a Glaive CCU, especially since there is a war bond for it. It looks like the Lost Badges issue has been kind of fixed in the store. I guess it's not in the verse. It's fixed in the store and fixed in your account. So if you reached Wave 25 in the Vanduul Swarm, you should now have something available to you that you didn't have all last week. So right now, if you type in Glaive, you should see the Glaive. It's at 350. Okay, so here it is. It's right here. It's visible. They just very recently fixed this since the previous video I released today, actually. So because this is new and because we all know that these things are time limited and who the hell knows when they're going to add or remove this stuff, I figured I'd do a quick update video. So the Glaive, here's a new one for us. Again, you have to reach Wave 25 and stay alive in Vanduul Swarm in Arena Commander to make this available to purchase. You can purchase it outright as a ship, and I'll go through that as well. But what we like to follow up on here is a CCU game, which is a little bit different. And because there's a specific war bond for it, this absolutely needs to be discussed. All right, so let's check out some of these options. First up is the Aquila. That's probably well, maybe not the best choice. Okay, so we got 2, 3, 4 technically. So again, these are special editions. We never want to use special editions on the left. The Sith is not, or Scythe. Somebody I'm sure will tell me how to pronounce that, as I always get corrected on my mispronunciations, which is fine. But yeah, these three you don't want to use, even though, well, I guess this one is down a dollar amount as well. First two choices, Aquila and Mole. Let's look at the Aquila first. Let's jump on over here. First off, I want to say the Glaive has probably had a war bond in the past, but again, here's a perfect example. The CCU game doesn't have everything, okay? It's not perfect. No electronic tool is ever going to be perfect, but obviously there's clearly a war bond CCU available for the Glaive right now. This is only as good as the data that it's been storing and or tabulating since its creation, and well, there you have it. So it hasn't documented that today has a CCU sale, which is interesting. So going to the Constellation Aquila, it has had a few. Looks like 3, again, very recently, 2 of them this year. It went on sale twice during Invictus of this year, and then it had one for last year's Invictus as well. So probably a pretty good choice for the Aquila. So let's click on the Mole here. Check this out. We've got a lot of them. Even this year, right? February was the last time. The Mole is very often on CCU sale, CCU Warbond sale. So both of these make a pretty good choice. If you have one or the other in your stable, obviously that's the one you're going to pick. If you have both and you're going to the Glaive or something even higher, well, maybe get one of each. It depends on how many chains you have going, right? Because you're going to use one in one chain and the other in another chain, well, it makes sense that you would want to have both if you're going higher than either one of those ships. So if you're going up to the M2 or something, or C1 or whatever else is higher priced than $350, I think even the Valk. Is the Valk? I think the Valkyrie is higher than that too. Anyway, any of those ships that are higher than $350, if you've got 2 different chains, obviously you'd want to use both of them. So look, I mean, the Mole has had tons of Warbond sales. It's very often hitting the Warbond cycle. It's also a great choice. Look, if you've got one or both of these already in your stable, either one makes a fantastic link to the Glaive. If you have multiple chains too, always think about this. With multiple chains, you're going to have multiple routes to get to where you're going. If you have two links that get to the same ship. Right? So if you already have something to the Connie Aquila and something to the Mole, and you're going to 2 higher price ships, maybe you're stopping on the Glaive because you love that ship, or maybe you're going to go to 2 different ships that are, $400, or maybe even this is in your like Bandy Merchantman chain or something. You can get one of each and cover your bases, right? Because as you build these chains out, if you have multiple chains, if you only have one at a certain range, obviously you're going to pick that one first for one chain, and then you won't have one for the other chain, and this would open up additional opportunities. As far as Connie Aquila versus Mole to the Glaive, both are fantastic choices. Pick whichever one makes sense to you. If you don't have either of them in your chain, boy, I'd probably pick the Mole because it seems far more often to hit the Warbond CCU chain cycle. Going down the stack here, obviously the special edition versions of the mole you don't want to touch unless, again, if you've already purchased that ship and you just don't want to do it and you don't want to exchange that $315 for in-store credit, then I suppose, yes, you could use it and do one-time upgrade to the Glaive. I don't see that making much sense, but it's obviously an option to those that have it. The Scythe or the Sith, again, I'm not sure really how, I think it's Scythe, technically. Anyway, my pronunciation's terrible because I'm a dumb American. Anywho, this ship is pretty rare. I don't even think you can buy it at this point. I think when Squadron 42 releases, they've told us that all of these alien ships will get a revamp, and the newest edition or the newest versions of them will be released into the verse and into the store, right? So whenever Squadron 42 happens, we will know exactly what's going to happen with these ships. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be like the Hornets, where these are the new ones and the old ones just kind of go away. No idea. But we kind of got to wait to see what's going to happen. But I have a feeling they're just going to replace the new ship in game, the ship model, and leave these as they are. However, it is very possible that the price will increase. But regardless, you can't really get the Scythe right now. So whatever, I skip it. The Starfarer, okay, so the Starfarer we know has had war bonds in the past. It's had one back in 2022. Again, this is not the Gemini. This is the base Starfarer. Let me jump on over here to the CCU game app. See, this is the Gemini that we had very recently back in Invictus. This is a standard Starfarer. It's only had one in recent times, again, past 3 years or so. It may have had one before that as well. Again, my memory gets foggy pre-2021, but and I don't have my spreadsheet open at the moment. So anyway, it's a rare one, okay? On the table, I think you're only saving, like, what is it, $15? What did I forgot to do the math right away. Oh, you're saving 20. Okay, so 20 off the bat, and if you're going down here, you're spending 30 to save 20, blah. That's a bad ratio, right? Automatically, you guys know that that's not a good deal. If you have the previous war bond to the Starfarer, which you would have gotten back in 2022 Invictus, you'd be better off going from like the Mole or Connie Aquila, spending 15 to save 20 now, and then getting a store credit or waiting for the Aquila to go on sale again, because I don't know where that would be. Can I even test? So the Aquila... All right, so going back to the last upgrade, it would have been the Sentinel. Vanguard Sentinel to Constellation Aquila. So jumping back to the Constellation Aquila here, it would have been $25 worth of savings. So what that brings this down to $290. So you spent 15 to save 25, I guess it would have been, right? If we go back and forth between these two things, that's basically what it shows. So there you have it. Down further in the stack, I mean, you're leaving a lot on the table. Spend 40 to save 20. That's a 1-to-2 ratio. That's really not great. But again, the Harbinger has had a couple recent ones. In fact, this last Invictus, it was I think it was there twice. And then back in 2022 in September, I forget what that is. Maybe that was the I forget what the name of that event is called. But anyway, that was the last one before this last Invictus. So I suppose if you really just wanted to make that jump, you could. But again, you're leaving a lot of money on the table, and it's really not a good ratio for savings to dollars spent, especially when we're talking war bonds that require new money and you can't use store credit. So I guess with all my ranting, I actually forgot to cover something that I should have covered in the previous video as well, and I'm going to cover it now. Okay, so the Raylan. Raylan is still a concept ship. It should be finished by the end of the year, I think. I think that's what they said. Crap. If I'm misquoting, I apologize, but it is being worked on, right? So it should be done. I'm using really, really broad air quotes right now to say it should be done soon, with the TM behind it, of course. But because they're working on it and because it's a concept ship, you can get a $5 upgrade from the Terrapin to the Raylan as a speculative purchase, and it will be available to utilize this year in one of your chains, okay? The Raylan's a $225 ship. My guess, and don't hold me to this because, again, this is speculation. This is how we make these speculative CCU purchases, okay? Because it's an alien ship, it's going to have an alien tax. I'm guessing at least a $25 increase. I think the Raylan will be close to a $250 ship, which would put it close to the price point of the MSR and the Constellation. Like, it was probably a Constellation too. But what I was going to say is the Corsair. Corsair's $250, MSR's $260, and I think it's going to be right around that price point. I think $25 increase is bare minimum. It could go higher. It could be like a $35 or $45 increase. It depends on whether or not they really put the alien tax on it and it costs more than the MSR, or if it's a direct competitor price-wise to the Corsair. Again, I think it probably makes more sense to compete with the Corsair. It's a cargo ship effectively, but it's probably got more maneuverability and less firepower than the Corsair, but it's going to have more armament or whatever. It's tough to weigh these things, but I think, again, price point at least $250, maybe as high as $275. So this is a fantastic speculation purchase that you could do right now. Terrapin to Raylan for $5. You can use store credit because it's not a war bond, right? It's a standard upgrade, and you could really make some huge savings. Imagine if this goes to just $260. Let's say it's the same price as the MSR, right? That would be a $5 purchase for just huge savings. You spend $5 and you get from a $220 ship to a $260 ship. That's pretty awesome. So I guess it would be like, what, spend 5 and save 35? That's a killer ratio. That's really what we look for in these speculative purchases around the CCU game. And this is a perfect example where not only is it going to be ready soon so you can actually put it into one of your chains, but it's got the potential to make really, really good savings. So if you're going beyond a price point of $250 in any of your chains, and you have one of the war bonds to a Terrapin, man, this makes a fantastic purchase right now. Again, it's Alien Week, so the Raylan's available, and we know it's going to be ready probably within the next 12 months, maybe even like IAE-ish. So I guess we'll see. This is one of those standard war bonds for a speculation that comes along not so often. So I wanted you guys to take advantage of it if it can fit into one of your chains that goes higher than like a $250 ship. So that's it for this quick update video, guys. I hope this information helps you save some cash, especially on that speculation purchase. And I'm glad that they fixed the badge issue with buying the Glaive Warbond CCU. Hopefully it's fixed for everybody. If it isn't fixed for you, try and do a quick refresh your webpage on your account to see if it's available. And if not, I would put in a ticket as soon as possible if you want to buy the Glaive as part of one of your chains, because again, it's always limited, and it does have a Warbond CCU right now, which is pretty dang rare for that ship. So again, if it's not fixed for you, definitely put in a ticket, and hopefully it will get fixed for you. That's it, guys. Zi-Tek out.